The show off. The show for people who want to find out who they are, then do it on purpose. And here is your host, Janine Coombs.
Hello and welcome to another show off. Today we have the amazing Vicky Quinn Fraser. Vicky Quinn Fraser is the founder of Moxie Books. She helps people turn their message and mission into a movement via the medium of a book. And she was my book coach and she's running amazing. Welcome, Vicky.
Thank you, Janine. It's really good to be here, and thank you for that lovely intro.
Oh, my pleasure. Look,
it's your book.
You helped me do this.
I did help you do this, yes, and it's such a good book.
You did this one.
I did do that one, yeah. I did do that one as well, and I did a few more too. But yeah, I need to turn that into an audiobook at some point. I'll get around to it.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your book right now as you take a drink?
Yeah. So my book is called How the Hell Do You Write a Book? And that is a title that I came up with very early on. I was like, oh, it's a working title. And then as I was like, I need to come up with a much better title than that. And then as I was writing it, I was just like, this is literally the question that people ask me when I tell them what I do. And so I just thought, well, it's the perfect title. And especially because it's something that people are going to be typing into Google as well. So it's hopefully going to pop up during organic searches and things. But yeah, so I wrote that in 2019, which feels like a very long time ago because it's BC, before COVID. It's my everything that you need to write your book.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can get too clever with book titles, can't we? Because I think arguably I've gone a little bit clever with, it's the curse of being a marketer. You think we know that we're meant to be clear. Clarity of message is important, but I think I've managed with the subtitle to be a bit clear about who it's helping with what, and it is, and both books are amazing because you are extremely talented, not only at helping people write books with the process of getting the narrative, making sense and flowing nicely, but also just the whole creative process and releasing your creative juices and sort of embracing that side of yourself, which I think so many of us have beaten out of us. I mean, I don't think I realized I was creative until I was in my 40s. And nobody told me you're not creative, but I just thought, oh, I'm not a creative person because I'm not good at art.
Yes, and this is it. People think that creativity means being like a painter or a musician or a novelist, and that's so not true. It's like if you are human, you are creative because that is literally a trait of being human. It's how we are, for better or worse, where we are right now. But it's also how we've got like all of the technology that we've got. Is engineers are creative, scientists are creative. So creativity is being like, oh, that's interesting. What happens if we try this? And that's literally how we've made like every discovery in science ever. And it's how we have created the most beautiful buildings in the world. It's how we have created incredible like city systems. If you've thought about how a city works, like all of the stuff that goes into it, like the infrastructure and the like nobody thinks about where the rubbish goes or where the sewage goes or how the roads work. Everything is creative. And so, yeah, this idea that creativity is reserved for a few magical souls who paint amazing pictures, which is true, but that's not all it is. So yeah, like it does get beaten out of us.
Yeah, and one of the themes that comes through really strongly in your online presence is, there are horrors in the world. There are so many horrible things going on in the world. Who am I to take up space with my little noodlings, with my doodles, with my creative writing, with my business writing? And you're like a beacon of light saying, do you know what else are you going to do? Like, stand strong, be a beacon of light, be fully yourself, which is why I've got you on the show off, because it's all about being fully yourself. Say more about saying stuff when there's horrible things going on in the world and you feel a bit frivolous and silly.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's not... Am I allowed to swear?
Swear, please.
It's not fucking frivolous. It's not fucking silly. And that idea that it is frivolous and silly is exactly what they want us to think. And when I say they, I mean the giant abuse ring that is running the world right now. It's like there is Like, I've been reading a lot about the psychology of the news cycle at the moment and how it's being delivered. The way that everything is being released in the world at the moment, the Epstein files, this war that's just been started to distract from the Epstein files, all of that, it's being delivered in a chaos is the point, and the point is to numb us, and the point is to make us feel so hopeless that we're not going to stand up and do anything. So actually, creativity and creating beautiful things and using our voices is an act of revolution, and it is absolutely necessary while all this is going on. And it means that, you know, this idea that we can only care about one thing at a time is nonsense. It's like, I am so filled with rage about the state of the world at the moment, and yet I am not going to let it distract from my mission, which is to help people use their voices to do good stuff in the world. And so if people take nothing away from this podcast today, I want them to take away the fact that you can be really, really fucking angry about what's going on, and we should be, and do not let that stop you from creating beautiful things, because the world is also really, really beautiful, and the only way we change things is to allow that to come through and to have fun and be silly, because like it's all silly and it's very serious. So sorry, put me on my soapbox and I went off.
I love it. I'm going to throw some of your words back in your face in a minute. Let's just dig out the quote. On LinkedIn, you said in a post, "Just ignore her. She's seeking attention. Yes, I am, because I've bills to pay, a life to live, and something important to share." Now, yeah. I love that. And I think a lot of people would read that and go, "Oh, yeah." And then they'd stumble over the last bit, because a lot of people feel like, do I have something worthy to share? And again, I suppose it speaks to what we've just talked about. It's the weight of everything that's going on in the world versus your little gem. But what if you feel like you haven't actually got anything to share that's worthy? What would you say to somebody in that situation?
I would say a couple of things. And the first thing that I think is really important to remember is that social media distorts everything. Like, social media is not reality. It's a very small sliver of reality, and it makes the most extreme voices on both sides very, very loud. And it makes us feel like if we can't contribute to that loud conversation and we haven't got something earth-shattering to say, then what we have to say doesn't matter. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because when you go out and you talk to people, and like, go to your local library, see real people, have a real conversation, you start to realize that actually most people are just getting on with stuff, and they're trying to put meals on the table, and they're trying to live their lives, and they're trying to do it amidst the global chaos that, like, literally a handful of overprivileged white dudes are like trashing everything at the moment. And yes, that's happening, but also real life is happening as well. And so your voice, what you think is your little voice, and all our voices are little voices, it's really, really important, because the big things are made up of the little things. Like, we've got where we are because of all of the small things that have happened to get there. And yes, it's been orchestrated, and yes, there's propaganda and there's all of that stuff, but we didn't arrive here overnight. And if you listen to people from the global majority, they will tell you until they are blue in the face that it's like, people are like, how did we get here? It's pretty obvious how we got here. We got here from like tiny little steps, but that's the point. Every tiny thing that we do and every tiny thing that we say feeds into this bigger picture. So if you've got something to say that is a message of love and hope and positivity and how can we change things for the better, then please speak up, because we need that more than anything right now. And it doesn't matter if your audience is 3 people or 3 million people. It still makes a ripple, and it still makes a difference. Like, somebody out there, well, like, you just picked up on that post that I wrote 3 weeks ago that I'd obviously entirely forgotten about, because I have a brain like a sieve. But I didn't know if that would make a difference to anybody, and you just quoted it back at me. So, you know, it does make a difference. I haven't got a huge audience, so
yeah, it's all, you don't know who's reading and you don't know who's interacting. And there's the whole thing about, it might seem mundane and pedestrian to you, or your life or your stories or your things that you want to talk about might seem small, but somebody else will see themselves in it. Somebody else will resonate. Somebody else needs to hear it from you. So I love all of that. Now, obviously, I've invited you on today because this whole podcast is about learning who you are and then doing it on purpose, to bastardize Dolly's quote. And it looks like that's what you're doing. Like, you're trying different things and you're expressing yourself, like in the way you look, in the way you turn up. And you do stand-up comedy as well. Yeah, stick the crown on. Come on. And you do stand-up comedy, which I have dabbled with myself, and then I scurried away into my little hole again with the excuse that there's nothing really going on locally, which I know, anyway, I'm not going to go down that route.
I live in a field. Surrounded by fields.
Listen,
and so
don't you coach me. This is me putting you on the spot.
And also you're hilarious. So
I know. But I like to do it, to myself in the mirror, and I know I'm going to get laughs. No, I will pick it up again. But you are doing it. You're turning up, you're practicing, you're learning in public, like in full view. And you did another post, not that I read all your LinkedIn posts. You did another post recently about how one of the slightly more seasoned comedians said a joke, nobody laughed. So she was like, oh, wow, that didn't work, did it? And you have to do things, you have to practice in full view, and you're on stage to try and make people laugh, and some people don't laugh, and that's just part of the process. And it is very similar to running your own business and bearing your soul on social media or on email or whatever, and sometimes you just get crickets back, but it doesn't mean anything, does it?
No, it doesn't. Because the other thing that I've learned is that I go deaf on stage because I can't hear laughter, and apparently, like, Joe's like, oh no, people were laughing, and I was like, I can't hear any of that. It's like my ears are ringing, and I'm in like a state of panic. But maybe that will change as I do more of it. But one thing that I have learned is that actually people are listening, and it is resonating, because the power trip for getting an entire room full of people to laugh at a joke is like, yes, give me more than that. I can see why people want to be dictators. I'm kidding, but not. And so that's really, really cool. But actually, the best part of any one of my gigs, and this has happened to every single one of them, somebody has come up to me afterwards and been like, really quietly, thank you so much. Like, I really loved that. You made me feel like I'm not quite so alone, because all of my stand-up is based on the fact that I'm autistic and the way I see the world and the things that I struggle with, and also the things that are freaking hilarious because of that. But like, yeah, people come up to me and they're like, oh my God. And somebody said at not the last one, but the one before, I feel like I understand my partner a bit better now because of your stand-up set. And I was like, and so, you don't know what impact. I know, exactly. I was like, you can't say that to me in public because I'm going to cry, and I don't do that in public. But that kind of thing is, you don't know what impact you're going to have on people, and you don't get to decide that either. So I say this about books because people think the same thing about books. It's terrifying to put a book out into the world, and it is really scary, because if I'm just going to carve out some pieces of my soul and then offer them up to you. And we don't get to decide how it lands with people. We just get to do the best we can and offer it up as a gift. And I see stand-up as kind of the same thing. It's like, this is how the world is to me, and I'm butchering somebody's quote here, and I can't remember whose. Does it seem that way to you too? Or, and it's like an invitation. What does the world look like to you? Let's talk about it. Because that way we make connections and we bridge gaps. And that's really why I started doing stand-up, partly because I thought, oh, this might be a good challenge, but also because I want people to understand what it's like in the head of a middle-aged autistic woman who struggles with things that you don't even see, because people are like, oh, you're so good with people, da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, that's what it looks like on the outside, but actually I need people to know what it's like on the inside. And so that's why I started doing it, because I wanted to make a connection. You don't know how it's going to land. So maybe that helps if somebody's thinking, oh, I can't put this out. Put it out there. It's the worst that's going to happen. For most of us, nothing bad will happen.
Yeah. So I love it. Obviously, you're now in a place where, and again, I've got a little quote that you said, as for who we think we are, well, that's work in progress, and we're all just figuring it out as we go. So obviously, none of us are the finished article. We've done all the growing we're going to do. So we're all on a journey. But have you always been this able? Well, I know the answer to this. Have you always been able to own who you are and be fully yourself? Like, I remember you, a couple of times we've met in person, and you've said, sorry if I didn't want to talk to you or didn't engage with conversation because I just had enough peopling and I couldn't handle any more, which is really helpful. And, you're embracing it now, and you're finding a way to be more yourself every day. But has it always been that case, Vicky? Tell me.
Good Lord, no. No, it hasn't. We all learn. We're all socialized, especially girls are socialized in a certain way to be nice and accommodating and always making everybody else feel comfortable. And, So there's all of that. And then it was doubly for me because I was always so aware that I was different, and that, you know, people didn't really want to, like, I didn't have that many friends when I was at school. I spent literally my lunchtimes in the libraries reading books about unsolved mysteries, eating my sandwiches. And that's kind of fine. But like, I do wonder what it might have been like, because schools are so much better now looking after kids who are different. But yeah, it's just, no, I've always really had to struggle to, like, I like to say I'm an alien in a skin suit to fit in as a real human, because people can tell when there's something a bit off about you and they exclude you, and not even deliberately. A lot of the time it's not even deliberate. And it's only really since we moved to our muddy field in Herefordshire, and I joined an aerial and pole studio and discovered that pretty much everybody in the circus world is neurodivergent in some way. And then you find your people, huge surprise that, and then you find your people, and there's a core group of people that I can really be myself with, and they don't judge me. I know they don't judge me because they're all weird as well. I've found a similar thing with my business, like attracts like. If you start to find the people that you can trust, then you start to be able to feel safe to kind of be who you are. But no, it's taken me a very long time. Like, it's taken me until, I don't know, like 40 years. I don't know, a long time.
Yeah. And was it gradual? Was it gradually you find this pocket of people and you're like, oh, okay, and then another pocket of people? Or was there anything else, you know, therapy, coaching, anything like that? Any interventions you did on yourself?
Yeah, all of that. I had, because, you know, like a lot of women, I was also misdiagnosed with depression. And I did have depression. I was on antidepressants for a long time. But they don't look at the root cause because it's stick in plaster land, isn't it? Especially women's medicine is stick in plaster land. And so it's just like, can we not look at the root cause of, like, why I might be feeling sad? So yeah, I've tried all sorts of things. CBT was not helpful for me. I didn't find it a helpful thing. But learning about, being curious about myself, I think, was the biggest thing. Was just like, well, why am I like this? And having conversations with Joe would be like, doesn't everybody struggle with this? And Joe would be like, Joe's my husband, for anyone who doesn't know. And he was just like, no, that's not my experience of the world. And then I would talk to other people and it's like, oh, people don't struggle with this. That's really interesting. Why? And because I'm so curious, like, curiosity, I think, is the answer to everything. And so I was like, why do I struggle with this and other people don't? Why is this so difficult for me? Why do I feel like I need a bunch of flowers when I've cleaned the bathroom when other people just do it? Do you know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. So it was that. And then getting my diagnoses was like, oh, okay. And that's why I'm so exhausted all the time. And that's why everything is so difficult. And it was just really interesting because I've had people say to me, why do you need a label? And I've said that to people in the past as well. Why do you need a label? And it's like, it's such an interesting question because it just helped me to understand myself better. And that's what could be like, that's really useful because it means that I'm not going to make the mistakes I made before. I've been quite the arsehole in the past and I understand why now. And so now I'm like, well, that behavior was really unhelpful. So I don't need to do that again. And so all of that, so it's all kind of fed in. But yeah, finding my people and understanding my brain better has been the two things. And then it's just a gradual process because it takes a long time to unlearn all of the behaviors and the rules that we're supposed to follow that actually we don't have to follow at all.
And it's so true, isn't it? I think if all children were held as their unique selves and encouraged to be themselves and none of their bits were squashed, the world would be in a better place, wouldn't it? I think it's the answer to everything. I think treating our children with respect and encouraging the things they're good at and celebrating those things, I think that's the answer to the world's problems.
Honestly, my dream is that one day we won't be getting diagnosed for autism and ADHD because it'll just be like, well, that's just the spectrum of humanity. And there's room for everybody and we don't need to make accommodations because the world is built in such a way that everybody can thrive. And that is my dream. And like Temple Grandin once said, Temple Grandin is, for people who don't know, she was a real pioneer of autism rights and awareness. But she said, without us autistics and ADHDers and all of the neurodivergences, you lot would still be gossiping in a cave around a fire over a cup of tea. And it is true. And I don't mean to shit on the neurotypicals here, but her point was we need diversity of how brains work because otherwise we just wouldn't get anywhere. it's just the outliers are the people who tend to push things and tend to go, oh, what happens if we do this? And most people, and this is not a slight at all, but most people are quite happy to do their thing and live their lives. And that's great. That's wonderful. Like sometimes I wish I was one of those people, but other people are just like, oh, what happens if we poke this thing here? Boom. But like it opens doors and opportunities. So there should be room for everybody.
There's another thing that made me think of as you were talking, adaptations, and it made me think of the word tolerance, which I don't like. Oh, are you tolerant of other people? No, that sounds like you're putting up with it and you're adapting to suit them. It's like, oh, I'm putting myself out. I think this is you're right, it's the wrong way to think about it. And I think it's why people wig out if somebody want to use different pronouns or if they've got a disability or they, it's just like he's putting you out. Oh, I'm tolerant of them. Why can't we all just get along?
Do you know what though? That is like, I am continually baffled by, and there's, like I say this to Joe, it's like, I literally don't understand. Like I cannot get my head around why people care about stuff. It's like, why do you care what pronouns somebody is using? Why do you care what's in their pants? Why do you care what colour someone's skin is? I literally don't understand that level of hatred. I can't get my head around it. I can understand anger about inequality and all the rest of it. But the idea of hating somebody is very weird to me. It's very weird.
Yeah, I am with you. So you have an email list and it's called Notes in the Margin.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, you don't always send the same format, but the one on the Friday, it's dangerous because you include so many amazing resources, articles, little videos. I have to brace myself and I can't look at it until I've got a break or it's the weekend or something, because otherwise I'm lost for a couple of hours. So tell us more about that and we'll put the link to join in the show notes.
Yeah, so it's my Friday goodie bag, and I shamelessly stole the idea from one of my favourite Substackers, which is Austin Kleon, and he writes about creativity, and he's the reason I make my zine. Every week, he shares 10 things that have caught his eye or that he thinks are interesting, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that, because I'm like a magpie, I just collect interesting ideas and things. And I try and make them a mix of stuff that people should know, like that I think that people should learn about, that are interesting. So, like I put a lot of stuff about history and psychology and Black history particularly, but also like really fun, joyful stuff as well. So it's like I want to make people smile. I've been doing it for quite a while, but my only New Year's resolution this year, I don't really do New Year's resolutions, was I want to try and spread a little bit of joy every single day, even if it's just like telling somebody, oh, I love your shoes. Because I think like it makes my day when somebody tells me that they like my outfit. So the Friday goodie bag is one of my ways of doing that. I hope it makes people think a little bit. I hope maybe they learn something, and I hope it brings them a little bit of joy or fun or silliness. So
I love that. Where do people find out about you, please? And where can they connect with you and find out more?
I am on LinkedIn far too much. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Vicky Quinn Fraser. I've got an Instagram account, but I'm very lazy about it. I think I'm going to turn it into my stand-up account at some point. But I am at Tiny Beetle Steps on Instagram. I do more stories than posts. And then my email list, so moxiebooks.co.uk. If you scroll down a little bit, there'll be a button to join my email list, Notes in the Margin. If you Google Moxie Books Notes in the Margin, it'll probably take you to the right place too.
Vicky Quinn Fraser, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show off.
Thank you so much for having me on the show off. It's been delightful. You're a wonderful human.
You have witnessed the show off with Janine Coombs. If you liked it, hit that subscribe button and share with your friends. For more episodes, go to janinecoombs.co.uk/show off.